on the table. Nice into 15. Oh, and very late.
It is now 3 minutes to start for the foreigner, 3 minutes to start for the foreigner.
Se lige, hvor meget screen time vi får i opsendelsen.
Super fint. Hej Mutti.
Du kan køre os.
Schöne Grüße nach Hause.
2 minutes to start for the foreigner, 2 minutes to start for foreigner.
Yeah, baby. Come on. Wow.
It is now 1 minute to start for foreigner and 5 minutes to start for team position.
Welcome back to Lillehammer in Norway. It is 5 in the afternoon and the sun has long since sunk in the east. The northern skyline, just a faint glow as we get ready for the final race of day one here in Lillehammer, the 1994 Winter Olympic Games held here and the 26 Youth Olympic Games. And our final event, as so often on Skeleton Day, is the mixed team competition. 17 teams from 9 different nations with 1 female and a male slider in each team. Single run, total time added together. The least elapsed time for the team is the winner. So no ifs, no buts, no maybes. And a very different dynamic as well, racing with somebody as opposed to against everybody. So what about this Lillehammer track? Well, it's a relatively short start. It doesn't drop off particularly, so it's a good sprinter start. Try and start in that left-hand groove rather than the right-hand one that leads you right into turn 1. Turn 2, little kink here. Turn 3, it's actually a double pressure corner. Very gentle pressure though. And then the first left-hander here, proper left-hander at turn 4. And this leads you down into 5, which is key to come off here swiftly into the big 270-degree corner 6. Quick transition into 7, little bump in the middle of 7. And then a dink in 8 into corner 9. Big corner 10 here, this next big left-hander. That is the end of the upper labyrinth. 11 and 12 crossover, really important for speed. Must come straight onto 13, this left. 1 straight on the track, there it is. Down into corner 14, try not to hit out of 14 because 15 and then uphill through 16 takes you to the line just there. So it's all over fairly quickly, a little over 50 seconds with a normal sprint start. It'll be just a little longer for each of these runs because we use a light system, a little bit like the gun that they'd use in the 100 meters or any other sprint race in athletics. Here we use a light system. We don't like guns at the track, you know, that's just us. So there we go. So 1 male, 1 female slider, and traditionally the teams will select their best athletes from the singles competition. Now there'll be a few who won't be there because although they may have fared well, they're not necessarily entirely healthy, and yet another start, particularly on the legs, is not always the best thing. So Janine Flock, for instance, who won the women's race, will not go in this one. So Samuel Maier, with whom she's had lots of success, goes with Anja Unterscheider. And Anja had a really good second heat, so that could be an interesting combination. And there's a little, a few little changes as well. Giovanni Marchetti. If you find a nicer person, all right, okay, all right, straight away, you find 2 lovely people. But genuinely, if you find nicer people than the athletes in this paddock, I'm waiting. So here's our start draw. Non-starters, Switzerland too, right, already. Gone, so we're down to 16 teams because also learning that Czech Republic will not start. They were due to go off 8th, and so we have 16 teams on the list. We kick off with the USA. Sarah Roderick, first to go in the team competition for Team USA 2, paired with Nick Tucker.
Go, 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 go!
So looking for a little bit of redemption, only had one run in the women's encounter. She didn't make the second heat. Now, normally you'd be expecting to see a single start for the women around 5 point something, 8 point something seconds. That does not mean somebody tied her shoelaces together. What it means is, instead of choosing when you want to go, you have to react to the audible start command when the lights go off. Don't go before you hear the signal or you get a jump start penalty. Now, although these female athletes and the men were on the track earlier on, the women were on it at, 9 o'clock this morning. It's now 5 in the afternoon. It's been misty all day, very different conditions. You saw a little tap there. She came out of 14 and across the line, 55.97. So it's the total time for both sliders added together that gives us their score, if you like, the time that everybody else needs to beat. You can tell that the track is sufficiently fast because she didn't brake and went straight on through into the crash mats.
Come on, Nick!
All right, Matt Antoine, the coach, with the sled. Nick Tucker at the line. So again, the same deal. You can see those light bars there. So the track is declared clear when the athlete leaves the track at the bottom. And then the starting official, once the slider is set, will say set, yes, or ready, yes. And then, then the red lights will be started. There we go. And it's somewhere between 3/10 and 1 full second from the red lights going out to that buzzer that sets you off, or the audible noise that sets you off. So you're never quite sure what it's going to be. You're not supposed to go before that noise, and if your reaction time is less than 0.07 of a second, then you are penalised, because that is the accepted minimum time that a human will take to respond. So 7.69 start compared to 8.32 of Sarah Roderick. And when we see all the other teams go down, we'll get the individual time for the female slider first, and then the team total time, which is Sarah's time in this case, and Nick's time being automatically added on. So across the line in 1:50.61, a new track record, because, boys and girls, correct, we have not had a mixed team competition on this track before. So we've had a number of them on a number of other tracks in World Cup and in World Championship racing, but this is the first time the reactions, it's not. Because we raced here last season, Amelia Coltman and Marcus Wyatt won, so that actually is a track record. Yeah, so 1:50.72 was the outstanding track record. So 1:50.61. So already the very first team are faster than the winners last year. And by last year, I mean in February. Or was it the end of January? Anyway, end of last season. Right, so Austria 2. And this is Julia Erlacher. And as ever, female slider first, male slider second. Red lights tracking down. And the reaction time comes up. Anything under 2/10 is good. Anything under 1/10 of a second is astonishing and very, very close to a jump start. Jump start penalties are enormous, inordinately high compared to any possible gain of time. And so often the athlete will move their body and move their sled in a normal race start. You cannot do that in these race starts. The sled must not twitch one iota. 2300s back. This is on the individual run. Julia Erlacher against Sarah Roderick. 3200s back. Third best speed. Now that's taking Nick Tucker's speed into consideration as well. And the faster starting heavier male athletes tend to be quicker than their female counterparts. So what she got across the line, her time is a 56.41. So 55.97 for Sarah Roderick. And so the Austrian team are at a deficit of 4400ths of a second. And one of the interesting little wrinkles in this is that you might well have like your male race winner and his, let's say, potentially only teammate or better teammate may have been outside the top 20 in their race. And so it's not always, oh yeah, they're 2 gold medalists, they're bound to win. So there's a real mix, and particularly at this stage of the season where not everybody is fit and healthy, and of course February. And doing this for real in the Olympics is the only focus. Now it's about keeping race ready. So Florian Auer in Austria 2, teamed up with Julia Erlacher. So Julia start with some 8.47, a little slower than Sarah Roderick. And Flo 8.01, so a little slower as well than Nick Tucker. So they're behind the 8 ball a little here. 4400s back after Julia's run. He loses a bit of time to Nick Tucker at the start. So now Florian Auer has to outdrive Nick Tucker and effectively undo the deficit to Sarah Roderick as well for Austria 2 to be able to take the lead. We've gone out to 7800s back. 4400s from the first heat, don't forget. More from Julia's run. Better speed though than Nick Tucker. Not a bad exit out of 13. Bringing the margin down. Not enough, surely. USA stay in the leader's box. But well rehearsed, but not well practiced. So the US stay in the leader's box. What are they up to? 54.69 slide for Flo. So Florian Auer not quite as quick either as Nick Tucker. So here, Julia Erlacher, just a little late transition, the crossover from 12 to 13, an exit 13 here. Not a bad looking run, just a little snag on the wall for Florian Auer. There they are, out of here, their day is done. Time to start moving off to Sigulda. Next up, Switzerland 1. There are 2 Swiss teams as well. Well, there were. Julia Simpson and Valentino Buff do not go. So this is Sarah Schmid and Vinzenz Buff. Sarah Schmid had a really strong second run in the women's competition just an hour or 2 ago. Really impressed with that. Really found some speed on the track. So if she can harness that again. 8.49. Okay, Sarah Roderick, the race leader, started 8.32, so 1700s back. But she did drive the track well. And she got into the second run as well. Nice smooth run through the 3 pressure corner 6, good 6-7 crossover. Through the labyrinth, 8, 9, and up to big corner 10. Little flop off 10. There's a lot of that, you hear it more than see it. Number 13, little tap, keeps it going straight. 2900s back. And across the line, 2700, so she did bring it back. 56.24. So quicker than we saw from Julia Erlacher, but 55.97 from Sarah Roderick. So the Swiss are 2700s adrift. So lots of work to do then for Vinzenz Buff, the older of the 2 brothers who are sliding in the World Cup currently. Valentino was telling me in training a couple of days ago, there's 2 more younger brothers at home. The youngest, or the younger of those 2, the youngest of the lot, who is 15, will be a forerunner in the World Cup race in St. Moritz after Christmas. Now, what they really need, obviously, with 4 brothers sliding, is 4 sisters to make up more of the team. Away he goes. What was the reaction time? Oh, looked a little premature. It was a long hold. Mountain goat, by the way, is the answer to what is on his helmet. It's not an ibex, it's not a chamois, it's a Steinbock, which translates as mountain goat. All right, so the start under review, which is a shame, because at the moment he's absolutely flying. 600s up on the US, but if the start is judged to be too early, then they will drop a long way back, down to 500s, out again to 900s. He's a stylish-looking slider, Vincenz Booth. 2/10 up. That would be negated by a penalty. Still checking on this. Yeah, they've gone from 2/10 up to 3500s back, so the jump start penalty, 6300ths of a second. So 6300s back, a 1.18 second jump start penalty, I'm afraid. So that's a real shame. Yeah, Sarah Schmidt offers her commiserations. That was a really nice run for Vincenz Booth. And the jump start absolutely torpedoes you below the waterline, so they don't take the lead from the US. And here's the replay. Yeah, the red lights are still on. I mean, it wasn't even close to going out. Now you see, there's the ideal body type for skeleton. The type that carries a brain that says, yes, I want to do this crazy thing. That's the only body type that matters. It's what goes on between the ears. I think there are 2 types of people who try skeleton. One runs right back to the top going, yes, 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 give me more. And the other runs away screaming and never looks back. Now for Latvia, 2 of our 4 teenagers. Data Nyman first off. 8.52 is the start. So 8.49 we saw for Sarah Schmidt, but 8.32 for our leaders from the USA. Sarah Roderick getting away quickly. And these teenage Latvian sliders rebuilding the Latvian program with the youngsters. And there's bags of promise. All 4 of them actually look a lot more composed than you would expect for 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 19-year-olds. 4200s back. So the time at the line, 56.35. So our first team off, Sarah Roderick and Nick Tucker. Not sure they would have expected necessarily to start with a track record, but that's what they have done. And they've already picked off Austria and Switzerland. There they are. Nick on the left, Sarah on the right. When Nick Tucker has kids and he gets up to dance, they are going to cringe, aren't they? He's going to enjoy that so much. So much. I foresee this in his future. Don't ask me how I know. Davis Valdovskis next up for Latvia. And Davis, the more experienced of the 2 Latvian men by 2 World Cups. There we go. 2200ths of a second, the reaction time. That's, oh, pops the groove, but, oh, just kind of about avoids hitting everything on the way down. But that has really pulled speed out of the sled. That's really unfortunate. It was an 8.06 getaway as well, not at all bad, considering that he was out of the grooves and sliding by the time that the clock recorded that start. Time at the start is not the problem. It's the speed that all went away as he was desperately trying to gently fight the sled back online. And it just seems to have scrambled his timing as well. So data watching from the top box, 1.4 seconds back, 1:52.01. Ah, disastrous. Well, it does happen. It is just one of those things. Very occasionally the sled, the runners pop out of the groove. So the last two teams, we've had a jump start and we've had a jump out of the spur. Oh, that's the name of it. Got away nicely. .852, not the fastest of starts, but again, all these four Latvian World Cup sliders are so young. So he loads here, but he overshoots and he rolls the sled onto its right-hand runners and the left-hand runners just enough to pop out of that groove. Valentina Margallo paired with Giovanni Marchetti now. They haven't raced together before. Margallo has been a race winner with Amadeo Bagnes. They won the mixed team race in St. Moritz in January 2024. And that is the only Italian medal since the reaction start was introduced. 2020 Worlds in Altenburg, she and Matteo Gaspari took World Championship bronze. That was before the reaction start. Wasn't a bad start, 8:26, put her a little ahead of the US. But this is going to be touch and go. She's behind again. And again, out of 13, a real bogey corner here. She's cutting a lot of ice. Oh, wow, 55.96 run, just 100th in front. So now it comes down to Giovanni Marchetti versus Nick Tucker, and this will be a mano-a-mano competition because there's only 100th in it. That's the smallest measurable amount. We're big on this track on dead heats. We've had lots of them over 2 races today. Valentina looking very, very much like she's quite had enough of this. Giovi, Giovanni Marchetti. Big motorsport fan, loves his motor racing. A fan of Ferrari, and who in Italy isn't? It is the state religion. Catholicism is second. Big fan of the late Marco Simoncelli as well. All right, let's see what he's got. 1600s, really good reaction time. And just a 10th behind, so 900s off the start of Nick Tucker, 780. So now it's down to him to outdrive the American to take the lead here. A 10th down to the start, 1100s. He's got a smooth sliding style, second best speed. Bringing it back, this is going to be close. Top speed for Italy. This could be Giovanni Marchetti driving them into the lead, gets a decent 13 exit. 300s up, the Italians are going to snatch this one away from USA 2. And across the line, new track record, 150.48. Excellent run from Giovanni Marchetti, 54.52. If I had more at my fingertips, I'll tell you what his fastest run in a men's competition was, but that was a really good run. Of course, it doesn't quite compare because the start's different. Exit 13, little skid, tapped away on the wall. That was Valentina, and this is Giovanni. Well, the start He was just a whisker behind, but on the drive, took the lead. All right, so Italy 2 lead, and now the USA get a chance to strike back with Mystique Rowe and Austin Florian, are world champions. Mystique Rowe, second fastest starter in the women's field today. Only Tabby Sturkett of Great Britain was quicker. Two-time silver medalist on this track, didn't grab a medal today. Was definitely not on her top form in the women's race, but can she produce something more? 8:26 to start. Not a bad looking run through the labyrinth. Out of 10. Only the 6th best speed, still in the green, but by how much? What's she got left? 23 hundredths. So, across the line, 35 hundredths up, 55.61. Now, for comparison, she started 8:26. Valentina Margallo started 8:26. Their starts are identical. She has come down 35 hundredths quicker. All right, now to win this, obviously, they need a track record. And we are on the way towards that. 55.61 is the fastest female slide by 35 hundredths. So that is in the bank, okay? Don't touch that. Now Austin Florian, build on that. And again, with Florian, the US have got one of the very fastest starters. What was he, 4th fastest, I think, in a men's race? Right in there shouting, just don't jump the start. There we go. Out of the block like a scalded cat. 15 hundredths of a second RT. That's excellent from Austin Florian. And the start, 7:44. Well, that's 42 hundredths quicker than Giovanni Marchetti. So just on that start alone, that's a big advantage. 8 tenths up, the USA. Second best speed. Marchetti was flying at the bottom. Needs to be clean, 11 and 12. Needs to be clean into 13 and out of 13. Not bad, not perfect, but not bad at all. Still 7 tenths in the bank. Gonna blow the track record out of the water at this rate. An enormous pair of runs, a 49.89. We are nearly a second inside the old track record. And that was from the winners last time out. Amelia Coltman and Marcus Wyatt. And that was not on a misty evening in November. That was at the end of a long, cold, crisp day in whenever it was, end of January, beginning of February. That's a really good pair of runs from the US team. And there are their teammates. Austin Florian, always quiet and reserved. So USA lead. No Czech team, unfortunately. Anna Fajenstedt, Timon Dranovsky have had to cry off. So we get to Marta Antsane and Emils Indriksen's Latvia 1. All right, not the snappiest reaction, 2700s, and not the fastest start either. It's when you're used to starting how you're used to starting, to do it this way, it's hard to explain how different it is. But it is a very different way of starting. And her start, 8.94, so 6,800 slower than Mystique Rowe, the current leader. Oh, and tapped in the 6-7 transition as well. Needs to be clean out of 10. Flopped off like everybody does. 7th best speed. They're going to be in the red behind the US. How far back? This could see them drop behind both US teams and Italy as well. 56.50. All right, let's see what Emils Indriksons can produce. Always get a good travelling Latvian contingent. A country of just over 2 million inhabitants. There seem to be an awful lot of them dotted around the various tracks we visit. And particularly for skeleton, of course, because of the success of the Ducos brothers for so many years. And those Olympic medals for the Latvian bobsleigh team focuses a lot of interest. Their biggest winter sport in Latvia in terms of viewership is still ice hockey, but sliding comes a close second. So what can Emils Indriksons do? Oh, little twitch of the sled. So he didn't leave the line before, but the sled has the sensors in. The sensors aren't in when your foot leaves the block. It's when the sled moves, and standing there tense. We've seen a couple of athletes use a sort of sprinting start where when they're in the block, sprinters have their hands on the ground to stop them falling over. But if you have one hand on the sled and the other hand on the ice, it sort of balances and braces you and stops that involuntary twitch. I do feel there's going to be a jump start. Honestly, if we can see it moving, it was moving. And that's a real shame. Indriksons, that was a 7.67 start, so it wasn't unnecessarily fast, but the sled moved, and them's the rules. So 1.28 back. They had a 1.14 jump start penalty added on. So he didn't leave before the lights, but the sled moved, and unfortunately, so the USA stay in the lead, and Latvia 2 in 6th, Latvia 1 now in 7th place. So not a great day for the Latvians. There's the movement of the sled long before the lights changed. He hadn't moved, but the sled had. So his teammate Davis Valdovskis popped out of the start groove, and a jump start there. So, late change of lineup. No Amelia Coltman. This is Freya Tarbit. This is the first of our 2 GB sleds. Freya had a good run into the top 5 in the women's competition. And although Amelia Coltman was the bronze medalist last year, she didn't have such a good race today in the women's run. So the top 2 sliders from the men and the female are in, except for Matt Weston, the race winner isn't. So the start, 8.39. And again, to take the lead, you are going to need a track record. So the track record could take a right pummeling here. They're still in the red. So 8.39, Mystique Rowe started 8.26, so 1,300's the deficit from the start. 4th best speed for Freya, just 100th back. She's in the lead, a good bottom run now. Just a tiny little correction in 15, 800's up at the bottom. 55.53. Well, Matt Weston's mum and dad are there, and Freya's with the flag, and her brother there as well, watching the action. So Freya Tarbit losing a little to Mystique Rowe at the start, but out-driving her there. And that gives her teammate Jacob Salisbury a good opportunity now. So it's not like a sprint race. or a relay race on the track where you hand the baton over and the motion never stops. There is 2 minutes between the starts of each of the athletes. And so, unlike a swimming relay, when the swimmer ahead of you touches, you go. Here, the lights are reset for every athlete. And don't forget, we will be doing this in Cortina for Olympic medals. Good reaction time, 2/10 is a pretty quick getaway. Now watch the start, 7:68, that's a good start. 7:44 for Austin Florian, current leaders. And so that leaves Jacob Salisbury with work to do. 2400s back, but he's already holding that. So they were a few hundreds up, 400s up at the start. Closing in, second best speed. Good run here for Jacob Salisbury. He's still got time, but only the fourth best speed. High and looping there, a little bit too much height. Scrambling for control, 13-14. And a hit from 14 to 15. They're not going to take the lead. They're not going to get a track record. USA will stay in the lead. 1:51.4 for Freya Tarbet and Jacob Salisbury. So his run was a 54.61. Yeah, those hits, they hurt. Because you see all the protection on the sled around the athlete, right? Yeah. When the sled hits the wall, the athlete hits the wall as well. There is nothing to it. All right, Freya Tarbet on the left, Jacob Salisbury on the right. So it is still the USA's world champions who lead as we get to Xiao Dan and Chu Haifeng of China. Now, China have had a race win. Winterberg in the snow. Xiao Dan and Lin Chin Wei took the gold. And Xiao Dan and Lin Chin Wei also took the World Championship gold in Lake Placid back in February. 8.73 from Xiao Dan. Didn't look quite at her best, if I'm honest, in the women's race. $6,300s back. She started 4,700 slower than Mystique Rowe. It's a short track. It's going to take all of it to try and undo that start deficit. And she's not limiting the damage. The gap grows, 7,100s back. $78. There's going to be a lot of work for her teammate to do. Nearly 9/10 back, 56.48. Marshall just not quite looking 100% today. I guess some days the bread falls butter down, and maybe that's one of those days for her. Chu Haifeng then. Let's see what he can produce. He's not been in the medals for China. Liu Shi, Yin Cheng have, Xiao Dan and Lin Chen Wei, both in the Worlds and in a World Cup race. Those are the only 3 Chinese medal-winning combos. To imagine, and Patrick Shannon would have chosen the best performing 2 from each field to go into the team's race today. 7.74, that's a pretty decent start from Xu. Smooth lines, but the gap is not coming down in a hurry. He's 3,500s behind Austin Florian alone. Second best speed. Gap is starting to come down a little, but not by much, and certainly not by enough. If you're a second back at the start, that's one thing. A second back halfway down, that's unrecoverable. So at the bottom, Austin Florian and Mystique Rowe stay in the leaders box. 150.77 for our Chinese duo, and they slip to 5th position with a few more to go. I can't do subtraction, and live on air is not a good time to start. So, Chu Haifeng. Well, here you can see Xiao Dan, again, a little late, timing not quite right, having to scramble in and out of the corners. And Chu showing good style at the start. Nice smooth load. And those final strides, just pushing the sled on beyond his terminal velocity. And to our second Italian team, Alessandro Fumagalli and Mattia Gaspari, the two best performing Italians. So Mattia, a World Championship bronze medalist in the mixed team competition. 2400s, not the fastest of reaction times, but no disgrace. 8:34 to start. And that's a good getaway. 8:26 was Mystique Rowe, so only 800s back at the start. Now, can Alessandro Fumagalli outdrive the American? That's the question. 800s back to 1200s back to 1300s back. The answer would seem to be no, she can't. If she has an absolutely blissful bottom half, she might get there, but the speed doesn't seem to be in the sled. Little tap out of 13. Still 1400s back. She's not reducing the deficit at the line, 1600s of a second. So the Americans remain in the lead. 6 teams to go after this, so we're still some way from the medals. Third run of the day, just like training, really. Now, Mattia Gaspari. Let's see what the man from Cortina can produce. Apart from a cracking headshot, obviously. It's always a good indicator of a grasp of a foreign language when you can freely make jokes in a language that's not your native tongue. And he definitely can do that. All right. Again, they're going to need a track record to take the lead. So Mattia is going to have to drive out of his skin. 787. 4300s slower than Austin Florian. So that adds to their deficit. Now he's 5800s back on the American. Bringing the deficit down. Such a good flowing slider. Look at that, top speed, quicker than anybody at the bottom of the track. And that's off a much slower getaway. Really beautiful driving here in Lillehammer all day from Mattia Gaspari. Italy won't take the lead, but look, he brought it right back. A 54.45 run. That's a really good one from Mattia Gaspari. Well, he'd be disappointed that they didn't get closer to the lead. Alessandra had a little untidy bottom end of the track. This is the bit where Mattia Gaspari does not excel, and that's at the start. He gets what he can out of the body, But it's once he's on the sled that he starts to conjure up the speed.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay.
It's okay, it's okay. So Italy 1 in 3rd, Italy 2 in 4th. Now we get to Denmark and our brother-sister combination. The younger of the two is Nanna Johansson. Only in her 2nd season of World Cup sliding. Her brother's in his 3rd. 2100s, that's a good reaction time. Absolutely par for the course. At an 8.77, so leaves herself with work to do against Mystique Rose, 8.26. 5100s behind the American at the start. Long toe drag from 4 down to 5. And she'll probably look at that video later and go, oh, I didn't need that. Sled wasn't going that sideways. Well, that's where experience starts to count. It teaches you these things. You make the mistakes in the early years, and you iron them out as you get more experience. Nice exit out of 13. Pretty clean, just a little brush on the wall, I think, into 14. Nice at the bottom of the track. 56.48. So 87, 9500s back at the line. It's going to leave her brother Rasmus with a lot to do. They do have a lot of fun, these two. Dad Tom's on tour with them. He is the fundraiser. Works very closely with the Danish Federation to fund this duo, to fund the program, to pay for their equipment, their coaching with the German team. And Rasmus has got potential. He's got bags. We need to see a little more of Nanna. She'll get stronger and faster as she gets a little older and more experienced. But Rasmus, I think, has a chance of making the German team on his own merits, were that to be possible. Look at that reaction time, 1600ths of a second. Everything about him is about business, is about speed. 7.77 getaway. So 3300ths slower than Austin Florian. So that adds to the deficit. He's going to have to really work hard to outdrive Florian down the run. He's not going to make up the shortfall. This is another good-looking slide from this young Dane. Everything about him is absolutely right. Attitude, spirit, determination. He's got speed at the start. He's good on the ice. He really feels it. He brings their gap down. So 54.60 for him. 1:51.08 as their total time. And that leaves them in 7th place, ahead of Austria 2, Switzerland 1, and both Latvian teams. And here, Nanna Johansson, good exit out of 13. And there's the reaction. Boom, off he goes. John Morgan would be proud of you two. Without any encouragement, they're coming up with their own little routines. Used to do a lot of that in the early days of these competitions. Now then, our winners from Cortina, Tabby Stoker and Marcus Wyatt. Tab's also taken a silver medal today. See, she's got that tripod stance with the fist on the ice. Just helps to brace you. And that means you don't have to have your sled pulled back against the block. 1300s, fastest reaction time we've seen. And an 8:12 getaway is very good starting. Tabby, the only sub-5 second starter in the women's field today. We had a bunch of 5-0s. Only one woman got into the 4s, and that was Tabby Stoker. 1800s up on Mystique Row. She had 2 good runs in a women's competition. She shut down the leader, Janine Flock. Janine was only 100th quicker than her in the second heat. 2300s up. A little squirrely midway through the run. Decent out of 13. So funny hearing her downloading with Suzanne Crayer and a couple of the other athletes after the women's race. She said, I'm halfway down and thinking, oh, this is going quite well, and then sort of lost where I was. 55.26, fastest run we've had. 2 tenths quicker than Mystique Rowe. This could be track record and the lead of the race. Well, if it's not track record, it won't be the lead of the race. So, with, what have we got? China, Germany 1, Germany 2, and Austria after this. If they lead, they give themselves a really good shot at the medals.
15.
Matthias Guggenberger with the sled, just making sure that the athlete knows the countdown. 10 seconds until he gets the track clear. So Marcus Wyatt and Tabby Stoker are winners in Cortina. And again, going for that sprinter stance. I do think that is the way to go. 2 tenths of a second RT, that's very good. What's the start? And it is a 7.52. Okay, 7.44 for Austin Florian. He was absolutely electrifying at the start, but 7.52 gives GB1 what they need. And that's a 3 tenths of a second advantage. He's losing a little of that. Coming back, he was 800ths behind Florian at the start. Coming back, he's only 100th behind Austin Florian, so they still have a team lead. 3700s up. Now he's starting to pull away from Austin Florian on the track. Marcus Wyatt looking to take the lead, looking to set a new track record. Goodbye from the USA and hello to Team GB, 149.33. So Marcus Wyatt was the track record holder before the competition started and is back with a track record in his back pocket. With Amelia Coltman last year taking victory and the track record, and with Tabby Stoker, the Cortina winners have the lead and a new track record. Excellent stuff. Tabs as ever, quick at the start and really made the track work for her today. And Marcus again, good strong starter and such an experienced slider. And he and Tabby, winners in Altenburg last season. They took the silver medal in the World Championships, while Tabby and Matt Weston did. They took the gold together in Cortina. Now for China, Li Yuxi and Lin Chin Wei. And then the World Championship bronze medalist with Xiao Dan. And Li out in 8:45, so 3,300 slower than our current leaders, or than Tabby Stoker at any rate. Nice quiet run. No scraping, no scratching. But no speed either. Often the quiet runs are the fast ones because the sled is going where the slider wants, and it seems that it is going where Lee wants, just maybe not as quickly. And across the line, 9 tenths down, 56.21 compared to 55.26 of Tabby Stoker. All right, lots of work to do for Lin Chin Wei, and it's hard to see anybody finding a second on this track. Young, fast. Again, lots of kilometres on ice left in front of him if Lin wants to continue to pursue this sport. And why he wouldn't, I'm not entirely sure. I've seen a number of really good Chinese sliders over the short history of this program, really. Compared to some of the other nations, they are very much newcomers in skeleton and in bobsleigh. They've been around now 6-8 years at the top level, and they absolutely perform the same as everybody else. Well, to start 7:51, a whisker faster than Marcus Wyatt, only 100th quicker. And so that means it's still going to be really hard to undo that deficit of Li Yuxi. Still a second back. Honestly, as a pedestrian, if you could do 2 runs down this track that were within a second of each other, you would be absolutely over the moon. But for elite athletes like this, it is a lifetime. So China in the top, Li Yuxi, and Lin Qinwei comes across the line, 1:50.42, a 54.21, not enough. And so China 1 dropped to 5th place. So it's GB1, USA 1, GB2 are the top 3. We have 3 teams to go. Well, Lin, bronze medalist with Xiao Dan. I have to say, with Xiao, the way that she's been sliding today, don't think they'd have been in the medals today either. With Li Yuxi currently in 5th place, 3 to go. All right, so they are done for the weekend. Jacka Pfeiffer, silver medalist in Cortina with her partner today, Axel Jung. Jack and Axel won the World Cup race in St. Moritz last year. And Axel Jung, a serial team medal gatherer. I think he's a team medal magnet. I'm not sure there's anybody now that has got more team medals, because he got loads as well when we had 4 different disciplines, men and women's 2-seat bobsleigh and men and women's skeleton. So 8:44 start. And that is 32 hundredths behind Tabby Stoker. And actually, Jacka was not as quick as Tabs in the women's race. Hasn't quite got the timing right here. Got a bad exit of 13, but she fell off 10. And hit a helmet on the ice as she buries her head. 46 hundredths back, 55.72. That's a lot of work for Axel Jung to do. Axel was in the medals, but is he that much quicker than Marcus Wyatt? Again, they're going to need a track record. It's going to have to be a big one as well, because she was nearly half a second slower than Tabby Stoker. I'm not sure that Axel Jung is half a second quicker than Marcus Wyatt. We will wait and see. In fact, we won't wait very long, will we? Here we go with Axel. So, well, first port of call is the start time. Marcus Wyatt, 7.52. Only Austin Florian has started quicker in the men's field. Now, I beg your pardon, Lin Qinwei started 7.51, so 2 have outstarted him. Oh, there is the tiniest motion, but it's not being investigated. He's got away with that, 7.70. All right, but a long way shy of the 7.52 of Marcus Wyatt. So 18 hundredths added to the team deficit of 46 hundredths. So that makes it 64 hundredths. He's got to unravel. And he's dropping behind Wyatt. Germany are not going to take the lead from here. It's too much of a mountain to climb, top speed or not. Maybe not quite the run that Axel had in the men's competition. GB1 should still be our leaders at the bottom, and they are. Germany slipped behind USA 1. So the Brits are in the medals. That was a 54.19 run for Axel Jung. 1:49.91. So that's actually the third fastest run down, and they are in third place. Second fastest run down, Mystique Rowe and Austin Florian. Not a bad looking run from either of them, just not quite as crisp as we're used to seeing from Axel Jung and Jacka Pfeiffer. So they're third with 2 to go. Chances are they won't take a medal, but now here's a change. Normally we'd see Janine Flock with Sammy Maier. Janine not fit to go again today, still struggling with a bit of injury, so Anja Unterscheider gets a go. Now, Anja had 2 slightly different runs in the women's competition. 0.09 of a second reaction time. Well, whether by luck or judgment, that's a fantastically tight reaction time. 8.76 is the start. But that reaction time, if you're 1300s quicker in the push, that's a lifetime. If you leave the block 1300s of a second before somebody else, you can get away with a slower start, because that reaction time is astonishing. Well, she had a really nice looking second run in the women's competition. And actually, this is almost up to that standard. .76 though, a long way behind 8.12 for Tabby Stoker, despite that reaction time. And has Anja Unterscheider done a mixed team race before? She might have done. Offhand, I can't quite be sure. If that was her first, whoa, what a reaction. All right. So, Sammy Maier then, bronze medalist in Cortina with Janine Flock. Let's see what he can produce. A lot of work to do, 1.45 seconds back. Now, again, Sammy doesn't have the fastest of starts. It is much quicker than it was a few years ago. He's really, really worked hard on that. But what he does do is drive this track so well. Again, with that tripod stance, 1500ths of a second, that's a good reaction time as well. Saves him 500ths or so on Marcus Wyatt. And the start, 7.98. Marcus Wyatt, what did he start? 7.52. So 4,400s, 4,600s behind on just that single start. So the gap is now out to over 2 seconds. What can he drive it down to? It's another smooth run from Sammy Maier. Just listen. No scritching, no scratching. Nice exit out of 13, middle of the tubes down to 14. He's going to bring the gap down. He doesn't. 7,200s behind Marcus Wyatt. 1:51.50 is their time. The Brits lead with 1 team to go. So Austria 2 slipped down to 11th place. Austria 1, 11th place. Austria 1 down to 13th. Anja Unterscheider, little tap there on the straight to 14. And Sammy Maier didn't quite get the start that we know he's capable of. All right, one to go. Hannah Neise and Felix Kaisinger. So, this is going to be an interesting combination. Hannah Neise, the world champion in Winterberg 2024 with Christopher Grote hair. And that might be the end of the competition. 7.99 is a decent enough start for Hannah Neise. But 700's back. Tabby Stoker started 8.12, so 7.99 is very quick, but it is looking like it was too quick. Dropping behind from 1300s up to 1100s back, and the speed is not where it needs to be either for Hannah Neise. Flying out of 14 into 15. And across the line, out of corner 16, 1100s up. Goes to 1.49 back, 1.38 second penalty. And so her time officially is a 56.75. And that means there will be no gold medal for Germany.
Nee, ich habe keine Konzentration mehr. Ich habe so Hunger.
Ja. Okay,
so really a dead rubber for Felix Kaisinger. Whatever he does, he knows that he's not going to be a second and a half quicker than Marcus Wyatt. And that means, effectively, now it's just to try and get the best out of himself. And, of course, he might be the one who does this in the Games. Only one team per nation. Is very late getting into position. He's not down set when marks and set are being called, if you like. 2200's the reaction time. That's definitely acceptable. And a 7.62 start, that's definitely acceptable as well. A tenth slower than Marcus Wyatt, though. $1600s behind Wyatt, so the gap is growing from 1.49 to 1.69 seconds back. So he's not matching Marcus Wyatt for pace. The question now is not where do they end up, but how far down do they tumble? At the moment, Germany 1, USA 1, and Great Britain 1 are 3, 2, and 1, and I don't think that is going to change. Great Britain are going to take the gold. Where did Germany 2 end up? In 12th place. Boom. Marcus Wyatt, Tabby Stoker, winners in Cortina, winners for the second straight time here in Lillehammer. Yeah, and you saw the flex and the movement. And Christian Balder, the Bundes trainer at the back there. Oh. And she knew it as well. The moment you twitch that when you've... And I'm sure there are lots of sprinters who know that feeling. It happens. It happens. And in fact, we had 3 jump starts and 1 spur pop as well in the competition. So Tabby Stoker and Marcus Wyatt take the gold here in Lillehammer. 2 of the fastest starters in the field. And they leave with the new track record as well. When we started this competition at 5 o'clock, it was 1 minute 50.7. It is now 1 minute 43.3 seconds. That's 1 1/4 seconds faster nearly. So Marcus Wyatt, Tabby Stoker are winners in Cortina, win again. Silver medal goes to Mystique Rowe and Austin Florian, the world champions in the mixed team skeleton competition. And Team Germany 1, Jacka Pfeiffer and Axel Junk, who were the silver medalists in Cortina, take the bronze. So GB2 just off the podium, and that reflects pretty much the singles competition. Freya Tarbet just off the podium in that. Jacob Salisbury teaming up with her for 4th. Italy won. Mattia Gaspari and Alessandro Fumagalli take 5th. And in 6th position, People's Republic of China, team number 1 for them. And that was Li Yuqi and Li Yin Chinwei. So 3 jump starts. You see what a difference it makes. Over a second added to your time is just unsurvivable. And Latvia too, they start popping the spur actually ahead of their teammates because of that jump start for Latvia 1. Switzerland and Czech Republic withdrawing teams at the last moment, where there's a lot of coughing and colding and illness going around, as well as a bit of flu, so that's only to be expected. Well, that's it for this week for Skeleton. We'll be back next weekend in Sigulda, Thursday evening with women's skeleton. A full day of action Friday with the women, the men, the women, and the teams competition. And men's skeleton will be on Saturday night as well. We'll see you then. Don't forget, bobsleigh starts Saturday morning here. 09:30, 08:30 CET, 03:30 Eastern. See you then. Bye for now.
Last time I'm getting your way today. See you tomorrow. Yeah. Für den Abbau? Start oder was?
Ja, daar zijn we. Axel, this is a team race. How is it to race together in a team instead of being single here alone?
Ja, also am Fahren ändert sich ja nichts, weil wir immer noch alleine runterfahren, aber es macht schon viel Spaß. Also es ist ein schönes Teamgefühl, nicht nur für sich selber verantwortlich zu sein, sondern irgendwie die Leistung von beiden so mit beeinflussen zu können. Die Freude, wenn es funktioniert, ist umso größer, aber es ist auch ein bisschen mehr Druck, weil also wenn ich schlecht fahre im Einzel, dann bin ich für mich wütend. Wenn ich es im Team versaue, dann versaue ich es halt auch in dem Fall dann zum Beispiel Chaka. Ja, es macht auf jeden Fall Spaß, es ist interessant.
How is your team spirit?
Der ist sehr gut. Wir verstehen uns sehr gut, sportlich und auch privat, haben den ganzen Sommer zusammen trainiert, uns gegenseitig gepusht, das hat gut funktioniert und ja, bis jetzt geht unser Plan auf, dass wir immer im Team zusammen an den Start gehen und ja, wir tun alles dafür, dass es so weiterläuft.
So this race was a good Olympic preparation?
Auf jeden Fall. Also ich denke, es gibt noch Verbesserungspotenzial, aber ich glaube, wir sind beide auf einem sehr guten Weg.
Are you now going to look back at the race together?
Ja, ich denke, wir werden uns schon noch mal kurz austauschen, das analysieren, denn es gibt noch viel zu tun. Unser großes Ziel ist Cortina und da gilt es einfach, jedes Rennen gut zu verarbeiten und auch aus Fehlern, die auch heute passiert sind, zu lernen und es beim nächsten Mal besser zu machen.
Danke.